Good morning and welcome to Rose Red Homestead. I have a book on my bookshelf that is called Gardening When It Counts, and I've perused through it. I actually like the title a whole lot more than I like the book itself. It's kind of tedious, but the title itself brings to the forefront of one of the things that we may need to be prepared with in case things go south and times become very uncertain in terms of our food supply. And it has very much to do with self-reliance and emergency preparedness. So gardening when it counts relies on a lot of different things. It relies on sunshine for one thing, and then soil and the orientation of our gardens and all of that type of thing. And particularly it relies on seeds. Now, about 3 or 4 years ago, we had a flood that washed through our property. It did not get into the house, but it washed through the greenhouse. And I had probably 10 years worth of seeds stored in a cardboard box that got completely saturated, and Jim threw it away. The seeds were ruined. And so about 3 years ago, I started completely over again on my seed collection, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. A lot of people that we know don't actually do gardening, but they recognize that they're going to need seeds in times of emergencies. And so they will buy these, usually a number 10 can, vacuum sealed, from some commercial outfit that says these seeds are for emergency. They're non-GMO, they are all heirloom, or they're all open pollinated. Well, that's all fine and good, and we will readdress that in just a moment. But the terminology open pollinated or heirloom, let's define those seed types so that we know just exactly what we're dealing with. So here are the basic seed types. We have open pollinated and a type of open pollinated that is called heirloom. Now, interestingly, heirlooms are all open pollinated, but open pollinated, all of these in this category are not heirloom. And then there's hybrid. Well, what's the difference? Open pollinated seed, those seeds are made with cross pollination by insects, bird, winds, humans. It's natural. It is, and it's not always natural because sometimes humans do interfere, but it is nature's way of cross-pollinating plants in order to produce seed. Just like in mammals, humans, for most seeds, it takes a male and a female part to combine to form the seed, which is the embryo. And so it takes the pollen from one landing on the blossom of another, a certain part of the blossom of another one, to form a little tube that goes down and that completes fertilization, and then that grows into the seed. So it's all done naturally. Now, all heirloom seeds are open pollinated, but they have more of a cultural history. They're historic. They've been passed down from generation to generation in families, in tight-knit villages, in groups. And so they have worked on these seeds and gotten them to where they do a great job, and they are open pollinated. And they are true. When you plant a seed from an heirloom, when you plant a seed from open pollinated, it generates a plant and a fruit that is very much like the adults. And we'll talk in a minute about why that happens. With hybrid seeds, they cross, this X means cross, they cross two different species, and generally it is human intervention. Now, sometimes a hybrid can be produced naturally, but more often than not, especially with seed companies, they have scientists and people who work in a laboratory to do certain crosses of different species. And if it is a hit, if the seed resulting from that cross is a hit, that first generation called F1 is generally very vigorous, it grows well, it produces well, and becomes very much in demand. I have planted some hybrid seeds that I'm just thrilled with. The downside with hybrids is that you cannot save the seed and expect the same results generation after generation, because it is a cross of two different species and the genetics are never true. You come up with weirdness. It's a crapshoot. You never know what you are going to get. Whereas with heirloom and with open pollinated, so long as there's no cross-pollination between different varieties of the same species, what happens there is that open pollination brings pollen in from all over your garden area where you have all of those plants planted. And there's some genetic diversity that comes together in the seed, but the seed is robust. The genetics are robust enough to take in the variation, strengthen it, and then pretty much true to the same adults. Now, I'm doing an experiment right now with tomatoes. Some of you have seen that when we do vegetable scraps and start things. I planted a slice of tomato, and I'm working, and it was an heirloom, so I'm working with those. Those plants are now about this tall. They're going to go in my garden, so I'm doing some experiments with it was an heirloom tomato. So you can learn a lot more about these things. A very common hybrid from the animal kingdom is a mule. It is a cross between a horse and a donkey. It is the male donkey and the female horse that produces a mule, and mules cannot breed and produce another mule. It is because the genetics are not true. I think on a very rare occasion it has produced a mule once or twice. I'm not really sure about how many have actually been produced, but the odds are very much against anything good ever happening when a mule breeds another mule because of the genetic mismatch. So if we are thinking in terms of what we want to have available for seeds, it seems to me, and my choice is to completely forget hybrid seeds. What happens with these seed companies? They're very shrewd, and they're in the business of making money. They also, many of them, are wanting to produce a good customer base, and so they want to sell things of value, which is not always the case, but there are some really good seed companies out there. I deal with some. And they have these scientists and teams that are working on developing hybrids. When they develop a hybrid that is a winner, they patent that, they sell the seed, we buy that seed, we love that plant. If it dies back and we have to replant it, we have to buy more seed because any seeds that we save will not produce the same thing as the adult. And they bank on that. And usually hybrid seeds are more expensive, especially if it is a new and highly successful variety that they have produced. And their bread and butter, these seed companies, they make a lot of their money on making hybrids. And we fall for it a lot because the fruit that is produced is really great and we love that. Well, I, for one, am backing off buying any hybrids, thinking in terms of what is the best choice for us over the long term if things go south and I can't buy any more seeds from seed companies. But if I am buying open pollinated and heirloom seeds, I can plant those and save the seeds from year to year to year. Because commercial seed companies also know people are concerned about the future, a lot of them have put together these packages that we started talking about a few minutes ago, usually in number 10 cans, vacuum sealed, of a selection of seed packets with non-GMO and either open pollinated or heirloom seeds on the inside. They know what will work year after year after year, so they're wanting to make a package that we can all pre-buy, put on our shelf for 30 years, and have it in case we have to garden when it counts. So let's talk about that for just a minute. I went on Amazon and looked at some of these packages of seeds, and the description of the seeds is fabulous. It makes you want to put your money down immediately and buy these up. There was one called a Seed Vault, I think it was like for $147, that had about a zillion different types of seed, And they were all non-GMO and all open pollinated or all heirloom. They had sold a whole lot of them. So I looked at the comments, and from now on, I learned recently to start at the bottom with people who gave it a 1 star. And dozens of people gave this a 1 star, $147, a 1 star, because they opened it up and planted it just to experiment with it. And the germination rate was practically zero. The seeds didn't grow. And there were a lot of other problems with it as well. Now contrast that with True Leaf Market. They're based in, at least they used to be based in Salt Lake City. I think they still are. They bought out a company that was called Mountain Valley Seed. And I used to get a lot of my seed through Mountain Valley, and then it became True Leaf. They have a package that I can't remember, it's $30 or $40. And they have only 3 stars, 4 stars, and 5 stars. No 2 stars, no 1 stars. And as I read the reviews on that one, people who had opened up and used the seeds to try them out had a lot of success. So be very careful if you're going to do it. I don't buy those seed vaults because I have a different strategy. If part of your comfort level for the future means that you wish to buy one of those vaults, just make sure that you read the reviews and check very carefully, and then buy one, bring it home, open them up, plant them to be sure that they grow in your area, because these seeds that are in these vaults, they say wide area for growth success. These will grow anywhere in the country. Well, no, they won't. No, they won't. And ask me how I know that. And we have lived in very humid areas in Houston, in deserts of Arizona and southern Utah, and then in states like Wyoming, California. Every place I have ever lived has a very different profile for what will grow and what will not grow very well in my own backyard. If you do the seed vault thing, buy one, try it out. If you like it, then buy another one that you can put on your shelf and keep. But be sure that you try them out to make sure that they grow in your area. My strategy is I save my seeds from year to year. Seed companies would like you to think that if you buy a little envelope of seeds that says on it something like packaged for 2025, and that means that those seeds are only good for 2025. And the next year, whether it's hybrid or non-hybrid, you're thinking, oh my gosh, next year for 2026, I'm going to have to buy another seed packet. I have grown very successful gardens using seeds that have been in my collection that are 8 and 10 years old, and this is how I keep them. Now, I lost my cardboard box, and granted, that was not a good way to save them. So I have purchased this little hobby box with compartments, and this is how I save my seeds. Now, anything that you are seeing with a black top on it, as opposed to like a green top, this came from just our local hardware store. But these black tops are from Baker Creek Seeds. And many of you know Baker Creek. Baker Creek heirloom seeds are all open pollinated. Some are heirloom, but all are open pollinated, which means when I grow this California Wonder pepper, I can save the seeds if I need to. And next year, I can have another batch of seeds to plant and get California Wonder peppers. So I'm starting to do all of my seed shopping at Baker Creek. Now, here are some that I bought from True Leaf Market. And this is the one in Salt Lake that I really like. These are, this is broccoli. Look how many seeds I have in here. Years and years worth. And these were packed for the year 2022. I plant these every year and have since I got them. 2021 must have been the year of our flood because all of my seeds, nothing is older than 2022. But I'm saving these year to year, and I open them and reseal them and fold them down and just put them right here. Here is a packet of, this is lettuce, and I have a ton of lettuce seeds in here too. This is another giant package. This one is cabbage, same thing, 2022. So I have these giant amounts, and these I can use for microgreens if I wish. And this is also true leaf, and this is more lettuce, tons of lettuce. But I also have things like tomatoes. I found a new variety this year I'm going to try. It's called Granny Cantrell. Well, how could I not? And then they always send free seeds. Baker Creek does. And this free seed packet had Woolly Kate yellow tomatoes. These don't look too appetizing, but I might plant some just in case. So what I am going to be doing now, and I still have a lot of these, I have just purchased at local places when I go and I look through the seeds and I pick up the seeds, and some of them have grown really well, but some have not. And so if it doesn't grow well, I toss it. I don't use it again. So what I am building right here is my own seed set where I know those seeds will grow right here in our yard. We have a difficult time gardening in this area. A lot of our friends and acquaintances around here, we all struggle with trying to get things to grow, so we share ideas about what will grow and what to not try. And so we have to deal, and everybody is in the same situation. Every place has its unique characteristics that make some things easy to grow and other things not so easy to grow. The mistake that I think is a huge mistake is buying those seed vaults, putting them on the shelf, and not learning how to plant and grow those seeds, so that when we have to grow a garden when it really counts, you are learning how your soil works, learning how things grow in your area, and then trying out seeds that may or may not grow in those seed vaults. So, two things I'm focusing on. I'm doing I'm doing quite a bit of gardening because we have the space for it, although since Jim and I no longer have the energy that we once did when we first moved on this plot, we have kind of moved our focus inward toward close to the house, and our back fields are just left to grow natural. And so I'm having a kitchen garden this year, which is in my Vigo Gardens just outside the back door, and that's about it for gardening. I'll have some things in the greenhouse, but I'm not going to have stuff way out. Our water here is very expensive, and so we're cutting way down on our water and just growing things close to the house. But grow something. Even if you live in an apartment, your apartment will have a window. Put some pots in the window and try to grow some things. Learn how to grow something wherever you live right now. Start testing your seeds and have those seeds on hand so that you will be able to grow something if things get tough. Now, where do I keep this little kit? Not in the greenhouse. It locks, and I will look back on my Amazon purchases. I got this through Amazon. I think I can find this again, and I'll put the link if you're interested. It wasn't intended as a seed vault. It was intended as some kind of a hobby thing, or a sewing place to keep threads and different things. But it works great for seeds. And then I keep this in the house, usually under the bed in a dark, cool place. And my seeds are just fine. I don't need to vacuum seal them because I use them every year and then I replace as necessary. But now that I'm focusing on open pollinated and heirloom, now I can save seeds and know that I will be guaranteed the next year's seed each year that I grow something. So I hope this information will motivate you to think about gardening a little bit. Think about, and if you're just starting, don't start with this many seeds. Start with 2 or 3 things that you want to try and grow and be successful, and then move up from there. Thank you so much for being a part of this video. We appreciate you so very much and are so glad that you are with us, and we will see you very soon for more videos.